Everyone, Ken and Lou here, getting back to more Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, and as many of you might have noticed that are interested in this series so far, that I have not finished the Abyssal Dungeon, and that is because of, let's just say, that one room with the 4 quote-unquote human players, or like copy of players or whatever, is quite ridiculous. I have actually looked up a guide before recording this of how people typically would do it, and basically I need to grind to get better weapons and completely shift my playstyle, because using the sniper rifle, well, it sounded like a really good idea. Like, you pretty much have to debuff them immediately and then have enough damage per second in order to finish them off before the debuff ends, or else it just becomes a complete mess. And the sniper rifle just doesn't really do that, and pretty much all of my current weapons don't really do that. And what really irritates me is that where I am in the dungeon, it is very rare to get rank 11 weapons. And if you don't know, going from rank 10 weapons to 11 weapons can sometimes be an extremely huge jump. In some rare cases, the damage triples when you do that. So not having good rank 11 weapons for that purpose is very ill-advised. So I'm just going to be taking a break from that. So in the meantime, I wanted to talk about my thoughts about the Abyssal Dungeon as a whole. So the Abyssal Dungeon makes it so that you cannot put anything into the dungeon from normal mode. And then you can take items from the Abyssal Dungeon to normal mode if you want. Personally, at first I thought that was a really odd choice, because I thought, well, what's the point of having all of the min-max stuff on normal mode and not being able to use it for this final challenge? And also starting back for all the way to level 1 was a very interesting thing to experience. But I have to say that after experiencing it, the Abyssal Dungeon was possibly the best experience for doing dungeons. Because, of course, they're basically just copying dungeons, putting them in a recycle bin, sometimes recoloring them on the rare occasion, and just putting it in there. Which, in some ways I can really see how that could be a bad thing. Like, if you didn't like the dungeon layout, or you just wanted new content, the dungeon doesn't really have super original content. Like, there are a few floors that may try to do a few things different, but it was pretty rare for that to happen. But the reason why I say that it was the best experience for the dungeon experience was that you don't have to worry about sorting through loot for the memory chips. So the memory chips are just the mods on your weapons. So, like, for an example, all of these damage modifiers are memory chips, according to the game. And in the Abyssal Dungeon, you don't need to worry about any of that, because Elizabeth was not implemented into the dungeon, so you can't rank up weapons, you can't modify them really in any way. And I really like that, because currently, right now, one of the main reasons why I haven't really been doing much in this game as a whole is because I have 400 out of the 470 inventory space, and it's all stuff, well, I don't know why I have this Longstroke 4 without anything good on it, but like the optical attack or the critical damage and all of this, I would keep these because I might use it on something else later. And it makes it so that I'm hesitant to get rid of some of the stuff that I quite honestly really should, unless I plan to really min-max the best stuff. And currently with my setup here with the AR Blue Rose and the Ordinal Array in normal mode, this is pretty much as good as I'm gonna get. Probably. And the Abyssal Dungeon did come with have new weapons in it, but the problem is pretty much all of them are on the last 3 floors, which are incredibly difficult, as well as having, according to what people have said, having some of the worst drop rates that they have really ever seen, which is really irritating to me. I really despise that you have these weapons that pretty much the only reason why you're killing this one boss or one type of enemy for, and they're extremely difficult, so they're like super boss level, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And then on top of that, you make it so that you force the player to farm them for hours to even have a chance of getting the item. And Borderlands 2, well, the Borderlands series in general kind of had done that with legendaries. But let me tell you, after Borderlands 2 kind of went out of its prime, so to speak, and they increased the drop rate for the legendaries, it was much more enjoyable to actually try to get those legendaries. And this game, as of right now anyway, the drop rates aren't super amazing. But going from level 1 to level 300 again was actually a really refreshing experience, especially without, like I said, without needing to worry about keeping items or anything. And it was relatively quick to level up too. It wasn't a chore like it was in normal mode. Going from about like level 100, maybe level 125, up to like 200 so you can farm the White Frontier in extreme mode was just utterly abysmal in many regards. Unless you have like some super amazing experience point multipliers on your weapons and accessories. So overall, I did really enjoy it. But on the other hand, though, like having that one room with the 4 different players, like being super tanky because they buff themselves, it's just so stupid. Like they have one health bar, okay, but it feels like they have the same HP as the bosses that have 3. And they move around, so it's not even, they move around quite frequently, so you can't easily hit their weak points. So it's just a massive facepalm moment. There are a few, like, I'm pretty much like just complaining about the room with 2 Kiratos, no, not Asuna, Kureha and Atsuki. Why they have 2 Kiratos in there, I won't understand. I mean, that is where you get the new swords, so I guess maybe they thought, oh, well, give them twice the chance, even though that the chance to begin with is abysmal. It's, I don't know. It's something. But the rest of it seemed to be fine. They did make it so that the level scaling did ramp up really quickly in some areas, forcing you to go to lower levels in order to level up your characters, which wasn't really that bad. I mean, it did take me like maybe an hour or two to go from level 220 to 300. But again, it's so much faster than normal mode. Like that isn't even that bad to me. I think the biggest complaints that I have about the Abyssal Dungeon is that they make it so that it is incredibly difficult or rare to get rank 11 weapons. So it's kind of... It's really hard to defeat these higher level enemies without decent weapons, and then they make it so that it's extremely difficult to even get the highest rank weapons in it. Well, ones that have mods, so they're actually good. Because, I mean, you can buy rank 11 weapons from the store or whatever. And also the concept of you needing to pay for your party members to come back. I was kind of thinking that would be irritating, but the way that they implemented it, I think of it as a good challenge with how they implemented it. Like, they give you a roughly 10 seconds before your party members disappear, so they at least give you a chance to revive them. But before you have to pay or they are removed completely from your party for the rest of the time in the dungeon until you pay. So overall, I think it was a good final challenge, but at the same time, it isn't perfect, and it's kind of disappointing that they did make it that hard to get the stuff that you probably went into the dungeon to even get in the first place. It just... I don't know. It just kind of doesn't really make sense. You can also get Type Z weapons from the dungeon, but considering the drop rates are pretty low, and the hardcore co-op missions pretty much guarantee that you get one. Or at least I'm pretty sure it does, or at the very least they're a whole lot easier than doing floors in the Abyssal Dungeon. So overall, I quite liked it. It was definitely a nice change of pace, and it kind of got me continually back into the game. So with that out of the way, though, I was going to put in one video. And considering that I didn't think this me discussing the Abyssal Dungeon was going to take all that long, I was going to have one video have all of the hero quests, or at least the solo ones, because the party hero missions are just fighting specific bosses. Like Angry Berserker, the Bloody Butcher, Judgment System, and so on, with these various different characters. And these last three, as far as I'm aware, is the best place to get medals, weapon proficiency, and SP. So if you still need those, that's what those are for. Unfortunately, you can't get the weapon proficiency with every character, or at least this fast with every character, because they don't cover all the spectrums. So unfortunately, for some of them, you only get 100 per time instead of 300, so that's kind of weird. But I was going to at least have one sort of playthrough of all of these, the solo ones, just because I think they're a neat side thing to do, and they allow you to play any character that you want, which is something that I'm really happy about that they added. Well, they didn't add it. I mean that it was... Well, maybe they did add it. I don't know. It's something in the game that allows you to play as anyone you want. So if you don't want to play as your main character, and you want to play as the Sword Art Online characters, this is pretty much the only way to do so. Unfortunately, you can't play as them out in the field or in dungeons or anything. I mean, that would be pretty neat. I think Sword Art Online Alicization Licorice that I've been playing recently, the newest game, I think they did a really good job on allowing you to play any character that you want, while still having Kirito being like the narrative focus because of what the story is based on and everything. And I'm going to play as Pitohui, since I haven't played her for this time trial at all. But yeah, with that, after this, I'm probably going to show off the Grandmaster, what is it called? The Grandmaster difficulty, bullet of bullets. Oh, she's so slow. I'm so used to my character, who has maxed out agility and movement speed modifiers, so yeah. So definitely not my best time, but not terrible. And I've never played the ones after this, so but I have done most of the characters for the first one. So, fight in the forest. Let's see, which one haven't I shown yet? I know I haven't shown Yu-Gi-Oh! Now this is definitely a change in scenery compared to the last one. I'd say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely like one of the better ones for his setup and weapons and everything. Because his weapon is probably one of the best assault rifles. This one's definitely a lot more spread out, I'll give it that one. Give it that much. Now where? Literally no one in here, okay. So are they all in this room? Oh, okay. It looks like they're only in this large area? Where are the rest of them? So I mean, you have 10 for sure in the main area, and then... Okay, so I went through this teleporter before. Need to go to the other one, which should be right here. No, that's the one I just went from, I think. Hey, what? Really? Because... Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I don't... At this point, did I check this one? Guess I didn't. So do you seriously need to activate all the teleporters? Or not? They just seem like just shortcuts. Yeah, I'm guessing if you actually know where they are, this is probably not really that hard, but... Of course, they're all behind a locked door. Very, very good. Makes complete sense. Okay. So, I mean, I did this one. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one. Yeah, if you know where all of the switches are, I'm guessing it's not really that hard. But if you don't, then this is gonna happen. Because I'm just not seeing anything that would give me a hint of where I'm supposed to go for this. I mean, I think I activated all 4 teleporters and everything. Did I go through this one? Yeah, this is just what loops around that I've been in probably 3 or 4 times now. Really no. I thought I'd... what? The joys of a blind run. Yeah, I think I did that completely wrong. You know what? Yeah, I am gonna retry this because that was a bit too absurd there. Okay, and I think there's one... Nope. Okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, that that is a lot better. It just begs the question of why add the functional functional teleporters then? If all you need to do is go straight, that... Okay. Nice job. Okay, where... warfare in the woods. Let's give Sterbin a shot. He might actually be really good for this specific one. But I know when I played him on the first mission, he was pretty terrible actually. Because the slow rate of fire makes stuff like that happen. But hey, if you actually hit, you pretty much guarantee a kill. Yeah, because they're all moving around and they're already pre-aggroed to you. Wasn't even a critical hit. Or weak spot damage. Oh, wrong button. There we go. Yeah, with all of them pre-aggroed to you, Death Gun isn't really super amazing. He's pretty much the best at ambushing. So if they already know that you're there and they're doing evasive maneuvers, he's not so great. Same thing with Sinon. She kind of has the same problem. But hey, let's play as Philia. Because I think she even though she does have a sniper rifle, I think it's the kind of machine gun like the full auto sniper rifle. Yep. Which is surprisingly good for this. Wow, this enemy placement is really good. For this one, anyway. Okay, where's the last two? Got him. Wasn't too bad. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to have an episode where I had all of them recorded just to show off, you know, what they're like and everything. Overall, they're a pretty good distraction from the normal gameplay, and like I said before as well, since they allow you to play as any character that you want, it does give you some variety as well. Unfortunately for the solo quests, you don't really get anything for doing it. I mean, you get the accessory tickets, but if you already have the accessories you want, or the accessories you want, you don't get them specifically from them. They're not really all that valuable, in contrast to the party quests, which give you proficiency medals and everything. Like, they give you a lot. And now that I think of it, I actually will play one of these just to show off what they're kind of like. I would say definitely this one here is probably one of the easier ones. Actually, wait, that's the tank. Yes, that one's a little bit easier, especially compared to this one, which is the two brothers from the second DLC, I want to say. And then this one, I don't even remember what that one was. And you can also play as Alice and Yujo for this, so... So if you put Asuna as your main, as one of your party members, this is a really good way of getting her proficiency up to max. I personally do not use Asuna because I kind of made my Arphasis the same as Asuna's setup. Why is Alice so slow? Like, seriously? Okay. Just randomly get one-shotted, I see. Alrighty then. The tank must have targeted me with, yeah, it's machine guns, and I wasn't paying attention. And Alice's shotgun being fully auto is really good. And then Kirito just finishes it off. So that's basically what they're like. They're the solo quest, but you play with a party against a single boss. And let's see what we got. A rank 7 and rank 8. Nice. And let me see here. I think it's over here. Online PvP. That's... I don't think that's it. So I still need to do the gold and grand before I can do the Grandmaster one. But I think this one, if you're really good at it, I think the Grandmaster one might actually be the best way to get credits, in all honesty. You can actually get diamonds from the super bosses from the Dissonance of the Nexus DLC. And that's where I gained most of my credits from. But looking at it, you probably get more from the Grandmaster quest, depending on how quickly you can kill the super bosses. They might be better and stuff. So, okay, so moving onward, I'm just gonna go to the Abyssal lobby for a second. I changed up my setup to copy a guide on the Abyssal Dungeon, and it's where you max out luck and dexterity, get enough agility for, I forget, I think one of the skills requires agility, high agility. But anyway, you need 231 int, decent strength, decent agility, max out luck, and dexterity. So like the whole setup is supposed to be where you have a really high crit damage handgun, and the person was using a long stroke because they have the 300% crit multiplier and 10% crit rate, crit chance, which is really good. And with the fast recharge for the handgun, you can actually spam quick shot 2 and 3. and that basically allows you to have a machine gun out of your long strokes. And with the high crit chance of that, and if you can get all of those to hit weak points, that is quite possibly the best damage per second in the game, from what I saw. In my main setup, for normal mode, I am using the blue rose, and I don't think I'm going to switch that. I think my setup works just fine, unless I have extreme difficulty with the co-op missions. I don't know. Then I might set it up. The only thing, though, is that with me, anyway, when I am using when I'm trying to spam the skill, Quickshot allows you to reload as soon as you fire your volley off. It automatically reloads for you, and that kind of kills its damage potential when you're spamming it. And I'm not entirely sure how the person who made the guide made it so that they can spam these without doing the reload animation. Is it just a matter of just pressing it fast enough, or what? I am not entirely sure. So basically, this is all experimentation for me at this point for this setup. And if I remember, I'll put the link to the guide in the video description. The person who I got this setup from shows you where you get all the Type Z weapons, all of the new weapons from the Abyssal Dungeon as a whole, and everything. And you have to use field buffs to basically get your quick recharge before you fight the bosses. So that's kind of why I'm holding off on that, because I'm gonna have to get used to that and also get better weapons in it and everything, and I don't know how long that is going to take. And the problem with the new dungeon is that I pretty much only wanted the swords. That was pretty much the main reason why I wanted to get to the end of it, was to get the swords. And the swords are quite possibly the most broken weapons in the entire game. The Giga Cedar sword has a 1000% crit multiplier by default, and has the same damage as the high strength damage sword from the distance of the Nexus. And it also has like a 9% crit rate. So it's basically that, except it does double the crit rate and crit damage. Or not, triple the crit damage just about, and double the crit rate. So it's just like, what is this sword? The other sword has the same, I think it has a little bit lower damage, but the crit rate instead of 9% is 30%, which is the Blue Rose sword, and it has a 300% crit multi, I think. So it's kind of more of a well-rounder if you want to crit all the time, but the crits won't do as much damage in a sense. But it's still way better than any of the swords other than the Type Z sword from the co-op missions. I think the Type Z sword had 500% crit multi by default, like 15% crit chance, and then maybe 2500 base damage. I don't remember. But the Giga Cedar sword especially is quite possibly the most broken weapon in the entire game. Like, if you get crits on it, you're gonna be doing max damage pretty much easily. But I think the Blue Rose sword might actually be better overall if you are using stuff like Star Splash. The Blue Rose sword might actually be better, just because since you don't reach the damage cap, you are getting more out of the crits. But I really don't know. And pretty much throughout me playing this game, I still stand by that swords are incredibly underpowered for the most part until you get one of the OP swords. Like, if you get the Type Z sword, the Giga Cedar, or the Blue Rose sword, all of those are incredibly overpowered. But the regular swords, the best one for me anyway, is like the Reiki G7 that you get from the Descents of the Nexus boss. And that one's like okay. Like, it's not super amazing, but it's okay. Overall, I just think that if you have a shotgun, if you have the Royal Guard shotgun, if I can find it. Or just do, yeah, type. If we go to shotguns here, well, even the Peacock 4 is really good. If you have one that has the right mods on it, I bet you could make a really good Peacock 4. But the Royal Guard one, if I can find it, here we go. If you get that to rank 11, I think it has around 800 base attack, has a really high crit rate of 8% for a shotgun, and 150% crit damage, and it's full auto. I have a min-maxed one on my Tia profile, and as soon as I got that, I do not understand why you would ever use a sword over that, in all honesty. Because it's just that good, especially if you can dual wield it. It's just incredibly good. Unless you're fighting a boss that you can't reliably get the weak points for, then maybe the sword will probably be better. But those shotguns are really good. And then, like I said, you can probably get something good out of the Peacock ones. I might do this Holy Arrow at one point, making that one as good as you can be, because it's basically a sniper shotgun. Like, it has lower damage, much lower damage, and rate of fire actually, but it's pretty much focused around crits and high range. But overall, yeah, I think next time I'll probably do the Grandmaster Bullet of Bullets, and then after that possibly try one of the hard co-op missions and see how that one goes. But I'm gonna take a break from the Abyssal Dungeon for right now anyway, so we'll see. So thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.